plan, if you will. Third, it's also important to pack a go bag so you can get to safety with the things that you need. And also staying at home. There's going to be situations where we have to shelter in place, much like we have been the past couple of months. So it's important to have supplies at home as well, and helping your friends and family in the event of an emergency. The way I see being connected is actually twofold. Connecting with those people that are close to you, whether they're family or non-family members, and getting connected to emergency alerts. So each one of you, if you could just take a moment and think about who is in your circle. Who do you trust? It could be a family member, it could be doctors, a health support group, assisted living, independent centers, social service agencies, whoever those people are for you. Gather that group and make sure that you know their phone numbers and write them down and share these numbers with everybody so that you have an actual circle of people that are in your group so that you can be protected in the event of an emergency. It's also important to choose an out-of-area contact that won't be affected by the local disaster. This way, your contacts can check in with that person to share information as to where you are and if you're safe. So, and the second part of being connected is connecting to emergency alerts. By connecting to alerts, you're in the know. It rules out the element of surprise. So for example, if there's a wildfire, you can be notified ahead of time and know what to do in the event that you had to evacuate, God forbid. So in the first slide, it showed calalerts.org. And so that is a wonderful website where anywhere in California, you can pull up that website and hover over the county that you're in and get alerts and be linked to an emergency alert system immediately. And you can sign up for it. It takes less than 15 minutes. So I definitely recommend it. Many of us are here today from the Monterey Peninsula. So if you haven't signed up for Alert Monterey County, that is our emergency alert system. I recommend that you sign up for that today. Other ways to get alerts are news stations. They have apps, and you can actually get alerts to your phone immediately. There's also weather alerts. And I also recommend getting a radio. And something that's in this guide that's brought up a lot is 211. And if you haven't heard of 211, it's a free, easy-to-use source of information that has referrals and connects you to services that you need. It's free. It's 24 hours a day. It's 7 days a week and over 170 languages. So you can count on them to get free, fast, confidential information on a myriad of subjects. So for example, if you want to learn more about disaster relief and recovery, food, how to get food, clothing, health, dental care, mental health services, housing and utilities, job training, veterans assistance, I definitely recommend that you check out 211. Even if you don't feel you need it right now, it's a good resource to have. So I suggest you give them a call or check them out online. Okay. So now that you've identified the people in your life and you've connected to the local resources, where do you go? It's important to have conversations with your people about where we go, where would you meet? So let's just say there is a major catastrophe and a disaster. So what you're going to do is you're going to follow the guidelines of the local authorities. But ahead of time, what you can do is learn different ways to get out of your community fast. We may all be used to how to get out of town one way, but it's also really important to learn other ways to get out of town and to practice those. And where do you go, as I said? So it's important to think about, where would you go? Would you go to a shelter? Would you go to a hotel? Would you go to a friend's house? So important conversations to have. It's good to communicate this ahead of time. All right, so let's talk about disaster kits. It's a very, very popular topic when it comes to disaster preparedness, or go bags, whatever you would like to call them. It's important to have a kit for each person in your household for up to 72 hours. Also a kit for your car and one for your work. In this guide, they provided a very short list. So if you're interested after the call, let me know and I can send all of you a more detailed list on what you should be packing in your disaster kits. And don't forget your pets and your children. This is something that you can do ahead of time, and you can save money by building your own kit, or you can actually buy a kit. But if you buy a kit, I recommend getting a very good kit. So what do you put in your bag? So what things that you can pack right now are important documents. And instead of shoving a bunch of papers into your kit, something that you could do is you can upload all of your documents, important documents. This would be your identification, your passports, your deeds, your insurance paperwork. You can upload those all onto a thumb drive, or you can actually upload them onto the cloud and put that thumb drive into your disaster kit. Cash. It's really important to have cash in your disaster kit. You can save up a little at a time. We always recommend small bills, ones and fives. And the reason we do that is because if you do go to a store and the ATMs aren't working and Apple Pay and Samsung Pay and all of those things, you're going to need cash. And if all you have on you is a $100 bill and they're not able to make change, you may be paying for a loaf of bread for $100. So you don't want to be doing that. So maps, remember maps? They still sell them. I have a few actually in my kits. Paper maps are good. So in the event of power outages and you can't use Google Maps or Waze, it's important to have a map. Medications. A lot of people are on medications, so it'd be a good idea to list all your prescriptions and other important medical information that you personally might need in order to help out right there. And of course, they like us to pack this disaster guide. So those are things that you can do ahead of time. I always prefer that you pack ahead and you're prepared ahead of time. But if you should run into a circumstance where you have to grab and go, what do you pack as you leave? Obviously, your wallet and your purse, a phone and a charger, and medicine. And it's good to grab, if you already own, a portable radio, flashlight, first aid supplies, and portable computer. What I like about this guide, it serves as a workbook. So you can actually write down in this section right here, what are things that you need personally? The one thing about preparedness is you need to personalize it based on your needs. So for example, if you have hearing aids, do you need extra batteries? Do you have babies? If you have a baby, you need diapers. Anyone with medical conditions or disabilities, think about what their specific needs are and add that to your kit. Now there's going to be circumstances where you're going to have to stay at home, shelter in place. Well, we all seem very well versed in sheltering in place. For those of you that I met in January, this is something we covered before we even realized we'd be sheltering in place these past few weeks. But sheltering in place means more than just COVID-19 and the coronavirus. There's going to be other situations where you're going to have to shelter in place. What does shelter in place mean? It means taking immediate shelter where you're within your home or a structure to provide protection and staying there until you're given the all clear. You may be asked to shelter in place because of a weather emergency, an environmental hazard, a chemical release or air pollution, or a local emergency nearby or police activity. So that's really important to have a stay box at home. And so what do you pack in your stay box? Make sure that you have enough food and water for up to 3 days. For water, save up to 3 gallons per person for drinking and for washing. And for food, make sure that you choose food that you like to eat. You don't want to be stuck with things that you don't want to eat, especially if you don't want to be cooking during that time. So set aside food that won't spoil and require no cooking. So, and trash bags serve as a myriad of options you can do with trash bags as well. And again, the guide is very detailed, where you can sit down and write down any important items that you use every day that you might run out of if you're stuck at home. So I'm going to pause right here and ask if there's any questions about any of this so far.
Rhonda, we have 2 questions, or
Yes.
2 requests for a bit more information. One specifically relating to the go bag and whether you could provide some additional information. And that one comes from Mary Robbins.
Hi, Mary. Yes. Are you talking about lists, Mary, or are you wanting more detailed item on what to pack in your go bag? I assume that's the question. I'll wait for Sarah.
I don't know the answer to that, but she's saying the lists you mentioned earlier.
Yes, I can definitely provide that for you after the call, Mary. I can provide it for everybody, actually. I hope that answers your question.
I bet everybody would love it. Okay, and
You
another question is from Crystal, and I think it may be a comment. The paper maps probably are going to need to be updated every year.
Yes.
You want to talk about that?
Yeah, absolutely. Make sure that you don't have a map from 1981, that's been sitting in your garage, and in your paperwork. Make sure to get updated maps for sure. Absolutely. Thank you for adding that.
Okay, and then Mike Brassfield has a comment. He suggests that everybody should be equipped with a solar charger, and regarding batteries going bad and the power may be out. And he's saying, look at the Red Cross brand. And then Sharon Miller has said, I store water and then I forget about it. So the question is, how long can you keep it in plastic containers?
Well, first of all, Mike, thanks for that comment. I am a big advocate for solar chargers. I recommend actually that one and also one by Aki. You can find those on Amazon. And as far as storing water, Sharon, a lot of people, you can store water in many different ways. Number one, you can store it, you can have canned water. And there are companies out there that sell canned water that lasts up to 50 years. And so I have a few cases of that under my bed. So that's one way you can do it. They also sell water in pouches, but those expire. And a lot of people go for the plastic bottles of water, and that's fine, but you do need to check the expiration date. The water in those plastic bottles does not expire. It's the plastic. So you definitely have to make sure that you keep the items in your disaster kit current. And so what I do as a rule of thumb, Sharon, is that I check my disaster kit twice a year, and I use the rule of thumb of daylight savings time so that I can check what's in the contents of my kit. And it serves as a really good reminder, not only to check for battery life, for food, just make sure food doesn't expire, in water. And it also is a really good idea to check your smoke alarms and your carbon monoxide detectors as well. I hope that answers your questions.
I think it also gets to Sharon's next question, which related to the strategies for rotating out food and water.
Yes, absolutely.
So, and then the question from Adriana is, do we have this information in Spanish? And the answer to that, I'm going to answer some of it, but the answer to that is yes. We have the information in Spanish, and in fact, I believe Mujeres en Acción is going to do this similar presentation using the slides in Spanish, and you can join with that. We have one more question for this section. Is that okay, Wanda?
Absolutely. Ask away. It's the best part.
Okay. What about MRIs? Is that a
MREs?
good idea?
Or MREs, you mean? Meals ready to eat? Is that what you meant?
I'm sure the answer to that is yes.
Yeah, I've tried them. Sharon. They'll crush your soul, but I'll eat them in an emergency. Yes, that is one way of getting food for your disaster kit. That's one source of food. There's canned food, there's MREs, there's freeze-dried food. There's a lot of options for food. So definitely pick something that you like. So I actually have some MREs that, last 150 years, but if I had nothing left, I would eat them.
That's right.
I don't know if that answers your question.
Yeah. Can I just add some information from
Please
Susan Coulter, who said that a person asked her about using her own filtered tap water in a clean plastic container.
Okay.
And she said she looked it up online and it said it would be good for 6 months.
Okay.
And I think Mary wants to know where MREs are available.
MREs, you can buy those online, actually. You can buy them online. There's a lot of survival websites out there, and Amazon has them as well. So that's helpful. And if you really want to buy them, I would buy them in a small portion at first and see if you like them.
See if you can eat them.
Yes. I've tried them, yeah. So.
Okay.
Any other questions? I told you this is the best part, everybody.
Phyllis says Costco has them, MREs.
Okay. Excellent. Excellent. All right.
Great.
Any other? Okay. Shall we move on?
All right.
All right. Let's move on.
I'm muted.
Okay. Just not me. Okay, good. All right. So let's talk about some basic tips for any disaster. Number one, carry identification. That should go without say. Make sure that you have identification with you at all times. And make sure your children have identification. You can put identification tags into your children's school bags. And if you have a medical condition, make sure that you have a medical alert tag or a bracelet. And pets are also part of the family, so make sure to get your pets updated tags and microchips. And what a lot of people do, and I actually have this in my disaster kit, is I have pictures of my dog and myself. So in the event that we got separated, I could prove that that is my dog. I mean, it's good to have a microchip or a pet tag, but it's just a little bit extra right there. And we touched on this earlier in the slides, building a support network. I can't stress this enough. Everybody is very focused on the disaster kit, but it really doesn't mean anything if you don't have a support network. So have a backup plan in the case of emergency. Think about who you can rely on. Talk with your neighbors about their needs and talk about your needs. Discuss disaster plans if you have a caregiver. What does that look like for you personally? And, you know, I work with a lot of people with children, and a lot of parents don't know what plans schools have to reunite their children if they're separated in the event of a disaster and their child is at school. So those are important questions to ask. And share keys with trusted friends. So if something happens, let's say Sarah is in Monterey and Harvey is in Salinas, and someone needs to check on Sarah, it's good that someone has an extra key to Sarah's place so they can check on her and make sure she's all right if she should be in need. So, and I can't stress this enough. If you have any medical conditions, make sure that you have extra medication and you have an added power supply. For example, if you have hearing aids or if you have a wheelchair, carry extra medicine when you leave home. Ask the pharmacy to renew a 30-day prescription at 28 days. This is a conversation that you can have with your doctor. And save extra doses in your go bag. What a lot of people do is they don't need to take all 30 days of a medication. Some people don't. So they take that one pill and they put it into their disaster kit. But I have to remind you, make sure to rotate. So when you check your disaster kit, make sure you don't have any expired medication in there that could be harmful to you. And reducing stress. Disasters can be stressful, absolutely. So make sure to familiarize yourself with the resources that are available by downloading apps and signing up for alerts so that you know what's happening ahead of time. And pack pack specialty medical and communication cards as well, so that if you had to communicate, you'd be ready ahead of time. Okay. So disaster preparedness looks different for everybody. Each of us has different needs. That's why it's really good to take a look at what your specific needs are. Remember at the very beginning, I asked you, who are your people? Who is your circle? Identify who they are, regardless of who they are. And so disasters are challenging for everybody, so we have different needs. So for example, if you are pregnant, and you know, a lot of people are thinking about getting the baby's room ready and clothing and getting ready for all the great things that happen with the baby coming along. But it's important to ask your doctor, what would happen if you were delivered during a disaster? What is their plan B? It gives you some peace of mind knowing ahead of time what's going to happen. If you're a parent of an infant, if you use formula, set aside plenty of clean water. And make sure that you have some sort of a body sling or some device that you can carry your baby should you have to walk for a long period. And for caregivers, help those that you care for. Create an emergency plan with your care recipient. Build a network of support beyond yourself and help your care recipient pack those necessary supplies. As I said, preparedness is very personal. Okay, people with pets, and we touched on this a minute ago. Make sure that your pet has identification and pack enough food and water and proof of immunization. Now, for older adults, carry family or caregiver contact information in your wallet. Make sure to learn about your retirement community's emergency plans. If you're in a rural community, share alerts through phone trees and ham radio networks. This not only should apply to rural communities, it should apply to all communities. So for example, in my neighborhood right now, I'm starting a communication program right now. I'm getting to know my neighbors during this sheltering in place and finding out how we could help each other in the event of a disaster or just to look in after each other. So meet with your neighbors and discuss collaboration, and plan ahead for evacuating large animals. Okay, now with people with developmental disabilities, it's important to identify trusted allies and to rely on in a disaster. Make a plan together with a support network and practice these plans. This should go without say for all of us. Practice your disaster preparedness plans. I can't emphasize that enough. People with speech or communication disabilities, know how to replace your assistive device if it's damaged or lost. Carry communication devices, phrase cards or picture boards, communication cards. Carry an instruction card on how to communicate with you. It'll be very helpful in the time of a disaster. And people with mobility and other physical disabilities, this is really important to plan ahead. Learn how you could evacuate early and who can help you if you need extra time to get out. Make a plan for damaged ramps or rails, and plan ahead with trusted allies for transportation. Okay, Now, a lot of us have cars and a lot of us don't have cars, and that's what LISOS calls transportation challenge. So it's really important to arrange carpooling if you have to evacuate, and that's where it comes in and who your people are. Ask if public transit may be free after a natural disaster. Learn if rideshare services will offer free rides to the shelter. And people with limited English, ask a bilingual youth member to share safety steps with you. Find trusted community sources to talk about safety options. And research what kind of media you follow that provides emergency alerts. What's great about the disaster guide is this comes in 2 languages, which is fantastic. And there's a lot of other resources out there. 211 has 170 languages available so that you can get the information you need in your language. And while a lot of people leave California, a lot of people come to California. There's a lot of new Californians out there. It's important to learn the emergency system basics like 211. They really stress this a lot in this guide. But ask your community, how disasters here are different than, let's say, Colorado, Virginia, Maine. Find trusted resources in emergencies beyond the government. Okay. Any questions so far before I move into safety tips? I'm going to take a quick brain break right now. Sarah, you're muted. Sarah, you're muted.
Okay, now I am.
Okay.
All right. So there have been a couple of comments.
Okay, let's hear them.
One is about medications, and just so people are aware that you can generally get 30 days advance medications so that you can keep them, and your insurance company may approve this. That comes from Mike. We had several people pointing out that the Listos California, that this presentation is, that the packet of information is already available, and it is, and I'm going to post that on the chat. It's on our website, and you can also get it in another, so I'll post both of those links. But so you can get the presentation in Spanish. What I was referring to is actually you can get the slides in Spanish as well as English. But what I'm referring to is doing a presentation in Spanish that kind of builds out and can be more specific about our area in California. So, and we have, let's see. So also in relation to prescriptions, working with the pharmacies to keep ahead of your expiring prescriptions so you don't end up with very few left. And ask your doctor if you can get a copy of the script for your prescriptions if you're traveling. And so here's a question.
Really good one, yes.
Okay.
Yes, talk to me.
How about caregivers' go bags, and how large should go bags be?
You know, I get this question a lot, and I've been to a lot of clients' homes. They will show me their go bag, and it's a backpack or it's a roller suitcase, or it's a duffel bag. You want to make sure that your disaster kit is something that you can carry. On the flip side of that, I have seen people show me their disaster kit and it is a garbage can that's filled to the hilt. And I gently ask them, I say, how are you going to lift that if you have to evacuate? So make sure that you pack the absolute essentials into your disaster kit and that you can carry it. Does that answer the question? And again, I will be sending you all a list. Go ahead.
And let's see, anybody got another one? I don't think so.
Okay, we're on the home stretch, everybody. So let's talk about some safety tips right now on things that you can do ahead of time and things that you can do during. While we've all been thinking about coronavirus, wildfire season is here, unfortunately. So what are some things that we can do beforehand? And if you live in a rural area, make sure that you have defensible space around your home. Clean your gutters, remove brush near your home, check that the water hose is working. If there is a red flag warning, that means now. That means, and listen to the local authorities and plan for no electricity because we know power shutoffs. We're going to cover that in a minute. And get a bandana or a mask. I'm sure we have plenty of those if it is smoky. So what are some safety tips during a wildfire. You know, don't wait and see. Please do as you're told. If you're asked to evacuate, evacuate. Don't play with that. There's too many deaths every year because people do not leave their homes. We all remember those horrific images from the Paradise fires. If it's smoky, make sure to leave areas quickly. If you are asked to evacuate your home, close all your doors and windows and open and remove curtains and shades and blinds, and then leave your home. And things you can do ahead of time is you can prepare your pets ahead of time for safety. Make sure that you have a carrier for your small dogs or cats, but if you live in a rural area and you have larger animals, make sure that you have a plan to evacuate them in the event of a wildfire. So stay safe everywhere. Stay safe with that, everybody. So, okay. Next, flooding. What are some things that we can do before? Keep your storm pipes and drains clear. If you live in a 2-story house, move your valuable items to higher floors and learn the best escape routes to higher ground. Keep your gas tank at least half full. This comes up a couple of times in the guide. A lot of people cringe when I say that, but you know, I've been doing it for a few years. I'm just used to it. I'd rather have enough gas in my tank than have no gas if I had to evacuate. So I definitely recommend keeping a car gas tank at least half full. Get plastic tarps and sandbags to keep out water. And what can you do during a flood? You've seen the images of people driving through high flood areas and walking through moving water. Those types of things can cost you your life. So never walk through moving water and never drive through flooded areas. And don't wait and see. Leave when you are told. The authorities know what they're doing. They know how to direct us to safety. So please listen to them. And watch out for mudslides after wildfires and tsunamis as well. Earthquakes, how timely. I would like to just point out that the earthquake we had about an hour ago, there's a new app. It's called My Shake. And I know some of you on the call have downloaded it, but after I felt the earthquake, I checked my phone to make sure it was an earthquake, and I have the My Shake app on my phone. It did alert me. And just in case some of you are curious, that was a 3.7 earthquake in San Benito at 12:22. So make sure to download that app. It's wonderful. My friends at the American Red Cross also have wonderful apps, and earthquake app as well. But for earthquakes, make sure to secure tall furniture to walls. Hang nothing heavy above your bed or sofa or chair, things that can fall on top of you. And practice earthquake drills. We all know drop, cover, and hold on if you get near a desk or a table, and learn where your gas, electricity, and shut-off valves are, and learn when to turn them off and how to use them. So don't rush outside. A lot of people say I'm going to run out of the building screaming. It really depends on what you're doing. So I recommend if you are in bed, a lot of people want to pop up out of bed, but you run more of a risk getting up. For example, if an earthquake hits in the middle of the night, you're tired, you run the chances of injuring yourself by doing that. So stay in bed and cover your head with a pillow gently, I always say. If you're outside, move away from anything that could potentially fall on you. And if you're in a car, make sure to engage the parking brake, pull over, and make sure that you're away from any buildings or trees. And if you're in a wheelchair, engage the brake and cover your head and your neck. Those are just a few safety tips on earthquakes. Okay, power shutoffs. Remember this happened to us last year to prevent wildfires. So what are some things that you can do ahead of time? Make sure that you have flashlights and lanterns. No candles, please. No candles. Flashlights and lanterns. Candles, fire, just don't do it. Keep your phone battery fully charged. Buy food that's not going to spill and doesn't need any cooking. And if you have any medicine that needs to be on ice, make sure that you have a cooler and you buy ice to keep these things chilled. And during a power shutoff, make sure to unplug appliances or electronics to prevent damage, and leave one light plugged in, and keep your refrigerator and freezer closed to make sure that you keep things cool in there. And you can use generators and camp stoves, but I recommend that you use them very safely to prevent any fires. Okay. So Lisa's California has given us a really good idea here. It's called the step-by-step safety calendar. So you don't have to follow this calendar exactly, but just take a few steps each week at your own pace, and you can enjoy peace of mind knowing that you're ready in case a disaster does strike. So I definitely recommend, as I said in the very beginning, preparedness can seem very overwhelming in the very beginning. So if you just break it down, just do one thing a week. So for example, today, if you haven't signed up for any alerts in your local area, sign up for an alert. Pack a go bag. Maybe next week you can form your Connect and Protect plan with your family and your friends and neighbors. Maybe week 3, start looking at evacuation plans. Week 4, start packing your stay box to be safe and comfortable at home. Again, it's your timeline. It's your preparedness journey. It could take you weeks. It could take you a year. As long as you do one thing at a time, you'll eventually get there. And this is the last page of the emergency guide. It just has some additional emergency alerts and wonderful resources as well. And I'm going to play a quick video for you. And what I recommend before I play this video is all of you check your volume on your devices, because this may come out loud, so.
A disaster can destroy anything in its path, except our will to survive. This is California, where our neighbors are our family.
They have our backs, and we have theirs.
Our friends, our family, our community.
We can all take small steps to stay safe.
Because knowledge is the best shelter from any storm. And no matter where we live,
How old or young we are, or what language we speak,
no matter how others may see us,
We're calling all people to connect, protect, and prepare.
and we're not done until all Californians know what to do by staying informed.
so we know what's coming and what we can do about it.
Until all Californians know how to connect with the people we care about and protect them.
Until all Californians get to safety if we need to, and know what to bring and where to go.
Or stay at home until it is safe to go out.
Before the earth starts to shake, wildfire sparks and waters rise high.
Get friends and neighbors to prepare.
Because we're in this together. This is California.
Listos, California.
Now is our time to get ready.
Okay, everyone. Preparedness is everybody's job. It's not just the government agencies. Oh, yes,
Can't hear you.
You can't hear me? Can everyone hear me? No one can hear me right now?
I can hear you, but it's low.
Okay. Hold on. How about now? Better?
I think so.
Okay. Give me a
You
thumbs
still
up.
can't hear you, Wanda. I think
Okay, how about now? Here's the glitches. How about now? Now?
no.
No.
You're really quiet. You can hear you, but
Yeah,
you're really
it's-
quiet.
Didn't you have to plug something in and plug something out when we were testing it?
Glitches we talked about. How about now?
Oh, yes.
All right, okay, new earphones. We'll get rid of these. I'm free. Okay. All right, so everybody, thank you so much. Preparedness is everyone's job. It's not just the government agencies. I urge all of you to increase your personal sense of safety, security, and peace of mind, knowing that you're ready in case of an emergency or disaster. Knowing what to do can not only save time, property, and save lives. So by being personally prepared, not only are you helping yourself, but you're helping your family and the people in your circle. It could be your neighbors, friends, and your community. So while we can't prevent disasters, we can become prepared, and it gives us the confidence that we need. So I wanted to thank Sarah, Harvey, CERV, Listos. Again, my name is Wanda Vollmer. I'm with Peace of Mind Preparedness. If you want to learn more about me, there's my website. If you have questions afterwards, please feel free to call me or email me at the information above. And I'm going to take the off a share screen so I can see all your lovely faces.
And Wanda, we have some questions.
Okay, so hold
All
on.
right.
Second, Sarah, 1 sec.
One of them is, could you share that app again? And I'll type it into the,
Okay. Hold on one second. Oh, yeah. Yay. Here's everybody. Good.
okay.
Can I share the My Shake?
Yeah.
The one you wanted? Yeah, that was My Shake. You can download that in your Play Store and your phone.
My Shakes.
My Shake, not Shakes. It's a California app that was developed just a couple of years, or just actually last year, late last year.
So is it MY Shakes?
MI.
MI.
HAKE. My Shake.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I also put a, our website, the CERV website, and if you go to CERV501c3.org, then you can go to the Listos dropdown and you'll find all these materials in Spanish, English, plus a lot more. So you should know about that. And this is, we turned this into a presentation, but it's actually a pamphlet. And let's see, there's a question here. Everybody's saying thank you, it was wonderful, it was wonderful. And window stickers. This is, what about window stickers that you can purchase or make that indicates how many people are in a dwelling or a car, and pets as well?
Yes, I actually got a window sticker for my pet from my local fire department, but there are stickers that are available online that can alert first responders. And my friends of the Red Cross have something called a file of life. And it says it says file life. You can put it in your, the sticker in your window, and it alerts emergency responders to your refrigerator where there's a little magnet, and inside you can tuck all your medical information in there should first responders have to respond to your home and no one's available. So it's a really good idea. So contact your local American Red Cross and they're happy to give you one for free. So any other questions? I love the questions. Talk to me.
Wanda?
Hey, Mary Ellen.
Hi. Listen, this really isn't a question, but I just wanted to share something because I think it's appropriate for this venue. As you know, I live in Del Mesa, and we have that neighborhood watch going on, and neighbor to neighbor. I think that one of the things that Del Mesa does is if we were ever to evacuate, they ask each resident as they leave the condo to hang a door hanger just saying that the condo is empty, so that when first responders come, they're not checking buildings that are actually empty. They know visibly from the outside that the resident has left. So I think that could be translated to Carmel, or if you have neighbor to neighbor, or at least in your circle of friends and supporters.
That's a wonderful comment. Thank you for that, Mary Ellen. I love that. Thank you, thank you. Thank you. Any other comments, suggestions? This is a
Hi, Wanda. This is Naweed Amin. I'm a CSUMB Monterey-based student, and we have students living on campus. What advice would you have for students, for college students that are either living on campus or in the in the Monterey County area? Is there any specific advice you would have for us?
That's a really good question, Naweed. The first thing I would ask, and if you're living in a dormitory situation, I would ask, what is the preparedness plan? What are their emergency evacuation plans, and how would they notify you in the event of a disaster? So that's a really good question, and I would find out what their emergency plan is. Does that answer your question, Naweed?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Any other questions?
There was somebody else who started asking a question. Okay, I want to just comment that a couple of people have just joined us.
Welcome.
So I want to apologize to them that they missed the presentation because it was absolutely fantastic, and that I wonder how people feel about us repeating this.
You can show us
Sarah,
with your hands. You can show us with.
Yeah, I just, you know, you can do your nonverbal thing. And I'm wondering also how we could make it better. So we do have a couple of more minutes that we could talk about that.
Sarah, are you talking about expanding the medical passport issues? What goes in to a bug out bag or the evacuation planning process?
Well, I don't know what people feel they need, but that's what kind of one of the questions. We obviously, I mean, you don't do disaster planning in 40 minutes, obviously. But it is, and I don't think you do it with a one-shot deal. Harvey, do you want to comment on how we've organized our Listos project so that we recognizing that a short presentation isn't going to make it? I know you're muted. You're muted. Let me, maybe I can unmute. I'll unmute you. No. Okay, well.
Now I think I might be.
Here you go.
Yeah, I kept hitting that button, but it didn't work.
I know, this is our project director.
So in addition to a number of modules that cover the topics that Wanda discussed today, our project has developed a series of other modules. A couple that Mike Brassfield talked about involve what to put in your go bag or your stay bag, how to prepare medical health passports so that if you do have certain medical conditions, information about those is on a document that you carry with you, and a number of other areas as well. And so we may well have follow-up, I call them Zoominars, that relate to those specific topics in the coming months. And we will definitely have other Zoominars on other topics depending on what people tell us are needed. The other thing I want to mention, Sarah, is that both the English version of what Wanda showed us, which is a 19-page pamphlet, and the Spanish version is on our website in two ways. You can just download the whole pamphlet, but you can also see every single page separately, like a slide, like what Wanda showed us. And if you just want that particular page or slide, you can download that from our website as well. We also have a number of other kinds of videos on our website, like videos with in American Sign Language. And if you explore that page, you'll find a lot of those other materials that would supplement what Wanda talked about. And we will have this one archived on our website very shortly, so people can take it and use it for other purposes. Okay?
And even though we just spent the last few minutes talking about this guide, you all have access to it. I really recommend you read it. Read it. I mean, knowledge is power. When it comes to disaster preparedness, the better prepared we are ahead of time just speaks volumes. Any other questions or comments? Are you all zoomed out right now? It's a common theme. What's up, Sandra?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I think in my situation, I'm a caregiver for my mom who lives in a community.
Okay.
And I offered them, some of the older folks, that, hey, you know, they don't know exactly what to put on a go bag. Mm-hmm. So I just tell them the most basic thing would be any of your favorite foods, 1, 2, your medication, your eyeglasses, and also their contacts. But some need a little bit of encouragement just to do it. I mean, I've had to even teach my mom. Now that we are in a stay home, you know how to prepare different meals, how to have food at that area with her, you know, because I don't know if the day of tomorrow I will be able to come to support you. The only way I'm going to support you is through Zoom or through the phone. I think it's a really good program or Zoom webinar that you guys have, because it encourages to do the best, especially with our deaf community. I know that, you know, showing them many things that are out there gives them the power that they need to just start doing it. And I know I have friends with children that I encourage them to do it. And it's only because of the information that you guys have given us out.
That's great comments. Thank you. I appreciate you saying that. And, you know, preparedness is a team effort. You know, what you're doing right now, Sandra, and, you know, you have a loved one and you know, other, it truly takes a village, and it takes encouragement, because looking at all this information and thinking, my gosh, I have so much to do to get prepared. It is a lot. It really is a lot. So if you can help others, help them. And, you're better off in the end. So, okay. Any other comments or questions? All right.
All right. We want to thank you very, very much for coming and participating and being patient. Wanda, you did a wonderful job. And as Harvey said, we'll be posting this on the website and doing more all throughout the year. So we have your information, so we will definitely email you, let you know that anything else that comes up, and then we ask you to share it with others.
Yeah, and shoot me an email if you'd like me to send you those lists. I'm happy to do so. And thank you so much for being such a great Zoom audience. And let's all take a brain break now. Thank you so much. Let's get prepared, everybody, okay? Sarah, Harvey, stay on with me afterwards. Thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, bye guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye, Wanda.
Bye, Crystal. Bye, guys. Bye, Sandra.
Bye.
Bye, Melissa.
Thank you, Wanda.
Good to see you, Susan. Thank you.
Thank you, Wanda.
Bye, guys. This is so cool. Oh my gosh.
Wanda, do you have a quick question from Phil here?
Hey,
okay, Phil.
Yeah, go ahead.
You mentioned when if we had to evacuate our homes.
Yes.
Did I hear you correctly? You said leave your blinds and curtains open?
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Can you tell me the reason for that?
That is something that's a recommendation by firefighters. I guess it just the way I understood it to be is it clears more. There's less to catch on fire there, and so it's one less thing if it's all cleared out that way. That's how I understood it.
And probably so they could look through the window too and see if anybody's in the house.
Yeah, a myriad of reasons.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yeah, I actually thank you for prompting me to look further into that, Phil.
I might suggest that
Mike would know.
If you ask someone else, you might get a different opinion.
True. Yeah, absolutely. I will ask my firefighter friends.
Well,
Beanie.
one of the difficulties you deal with is that when everybody's evacuating, some people don't evacuate to take advantage of a situation.
Mm-hmm.
So we just need to be aware.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So.
Thank you very much. That was a great presentation.
Thanks, Mike. Thanks, everybody. Harvey, hey, Ann. Harvey, Sarah, did Harvey take off, Sarah?
He looks like he did.
He did. It's just you and me, kid. Okay.
Well, he may. Yeah, I'm not. It's hard to see, but we're definitely dwindling here.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah.
Thanks, everybody. Make sure to
be safe. Be safe.
Be safe. Get prepared. Get prepared. Thanks, John. Thanks, Anne. Okay. Oh, Josefina was here.
What?
Oh, Josefina was here. Bye, Yubi. I'll talk to you later.
And our Zoom guy's here.
Yes. Hey, John. I just saw him.
I'll tell you, it didn't go as planned, but it went fine.
I'm glad it all went well.
You know, Sarah, you can actually remove people too. Do you know how to do that?
First, we have to tell you we love you, Wanda.
I'm not going to remove anybody.
Oh, okay. Hey, Nicole, you're late to the party.
I know. Sorry.
That's right.
It's okay.
Well, our latecomers are hanging around because of they
trying to get those.
They missed the presentation.
Look, we need to do an encore performance. Gabby, I love you.
Love you. Thank you. Why can't we see you? I don't know why. No, me.
Screen is it on?
Why did that happen? I don't know. Yeah, we really. I'm sorry about it. It sounded amazing. Now, did you record this?
This is recorded.
Yeah,
it's Sarah on her CERV website. Go ahead, Sarah.
Yeah, it's recorded almost from the beginning. Not quite.
Awesome.
Uh-oh.
Because there were things, yeah, that I learned.